Welcome guys, this is another episode where we are going to configure SSH. So this is our topology, which is a LAN topology, and then this is the network address. So this is the network ID I'm going to use throughout this topology. So what I'm going to do first, I have to assign IP addresses to each end device and come and configure my gateway. The gateway is simply the LAN interface which allows internal packets to go outside. So what I will do is I'll first of all assign IP addresses to each of this end device. I'll assume this device will take, okay, so the gateway will take .254, this one will take .1, this will take .2, and then this will take .3. So this is how I'm going to assign the addresses. So starting with the end device, I'll click on it and then go to desktop, go to IP configuration. We already know the network address, so I'll just type 192.168.1.1, and then the gateway is 192.168.1.254. This is what I said is going to be used. So let me just copy it so that we can go fast. Move on to the second end device. Just go to desktop, IP configuration, do the same thing, 192.168.1.2. Then we paste the gateway. We'll do the same thing over here. Desktop, IP configuration, we go for 192.168.1.3, and then we paste the gateway. So now I'm done assigning IP addresses to each of these end device. I'm now going to configure the router, precisely this interface, which is giga00. I'll just click on the router, look for the CLI, this is it, click on it, and then just type no. And then I have this initial interface. So now on this interface, what I will do, I will name the device. I have to be on the global mode. So host name, I'll use it. Let's say router SSH. This is the name. Automatically, it has changed from the router to router SSH. What I will do again is to make sure I configure the secret password, which will protect the privilege mode from the user mode. So what I will do is I will just type, okay, before I get there, I have to assign an IP address to this one first. So IP address, interface giga0/0 IP address 192.168.1.254. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. One more detail I also want you to know is that I can give a description for this interface. Let's say description. I'll use this. This is my local interface used as a gateway. So this will be the description for this particular interface. Now that I've done assigning an IP address to this interface, what I can do is I can try to ping and see if it will work. Oh, sorry, I've not enabled the interface. You see it's still red, so I have to run no shutdown to make sure the interface comes up here. The interface is up, so I can now go and check from the end devices, see if they'll be able to ping. I just choose any of this. I'll go for the middle one and then look for command prompt. We know the gateway, which is .254, so I'll just type ping 192.168.1.254. so basically the first ping will get lost trying to initialize between the two. Yeah, so it's working. I can just recall it, then see I have the response. So now all my interfaces are green. What's next is to configure SSH. So I will go back to the router and then start to configure SSH. Currently, I'm on the interface mode. I have to exit to be on the global mode. So exit, I exit from the interface mode to the configuration mode. So the first thing I will do is to set a password, okay, with the command enable secret, and then I'll use Cisco 123. Okay, so now from the user mode, when you try to move on to the privilege mode, you have to provide this password before access is granted. So I have to configure the username, admin, password, admin 123. Okay, now I've set a password, configured my username. Okay, and then password. What I will do is I have to configure a domain. So I'll type IP domain name. I will use cisco.com, for instance. After that, I have to generate a key. So crypto key generate. I'll use RC. Then I have to provide the length of my key. By default, I'll use 10. By default, I'll use 1040. This is my key. How many bits in the model? Okay, this is what I've provided. Generating 1040 bits RSA key. Key will be non-exportable. Exportable. Okay, so after I've generated the key, what's next is to configure the virtual line, which I'll go with line VTY04. So I can go up to 15 by default, but then it's not really necessary to open up to 15 virtual line. So I decided just to open 4. So I will use password. I will say Cisco, okay, at 123, and then I'll say login local, and then I have to specify the protocol. I have to specify what you are going to use. Here in our scenario, we are configuring SSH, so I will use transport input SSH. Okay, then I have to save all this. I can use do write, okay, to save the configuration. The reason why is do because the write is not being executed in the privilege mode. If this command were to be executed in a privilege mode, wouldn't be in need of the do. But because it's outside of the mode in which it gets executed, we have to precede it with do. That's why there's do. So we just save it. So now I have to go and give it a try and see how it goes. I'll just go to PC2, close this, and then look for the Telnet here. Okay, so SSH, I have to use the address, which is the gateway 192.168.1.254, and then the username is admin. So I'll try to connect. Okay, I have to provide the password, which is admin123. Okay, I've gotten access to my router. Now to move on to the next mode, I have to type enable. Okay, there's a password. This password is what I configured with enable secret. So what was the password? It was Cisco 123. Exactly. So it has given me what's access. So now from this PC, okay, from this PC, I'm connected to the router. So whatever I would do over here, it will reflect on this. So let me try to do something. Okay, conf-t. Okay, what can I do? Okay, anyway, let me exit and then have some try show IP interface giga. Okay, sorry, giga 0/0. So now I want to have some information about this interface, which is my local interface. I click on it. So this is what I have by default. The interface is up, line protocol is also connected. This is the IP address. Okay, this is the broadcast address. We'll get to the broadcast when we'll study IP addresses. This is the maximum transmission unit, which is 1500 bytes. So these are some of the information related to this interface. Okay, so I can also type show interface gig 0/0. So I would have more information over here. Okay, let me just, okay, initially we have the same status of the interface is up. There's MAC address. Okay, so this is the MAC address of this interface, right? And then we have this description. So this is the description I configured, which actually can give you an idea in case you are dealing with so many interfaces. The descriptions can be something very useful to label your various interfaces, so that in case of any challenges, you can quickly and easily, find out where the issue is. This is the IP address, the MTU, the bandwidth, the delay, okay, the reliability, encapsulation, and so on. You can see this is a full duplex. Full duplex is very necessary. If you have watched the video on collision and broadcast domain, you will understand that I made mention of the full duplex, which is the mode on which a switch interface operates, right? Yeah, so it's something very important. And then this is the ID45, so basically you have so many things over here. So basically you have a lot of information related to this particular interface. So that's how you can configure the switch. So now I'm trying to close the session. Yes, I've closed my session. So what we have learned, we have done the basic configuration, which was assigning IP addresses, and then we moved on with configuring SSH. And then the last task was to test and see if the SSH was successful. If the video has been informative, let me know in the comment section. What do you think about the video? Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.